We're now recording, it being around about 4 o'clock on Wednesday, July 6th. I'll call this Gardner Elementary School Finance Subcommittee meeting to order. Dr. Hammond, would you mind calling the roll?
Dr. Pellegrino,
Present.
Wayne Anderson,
Present.
Robert Hankinson.
Here.
I know Jennifer Plavin is absent. I don't think she came on. Bob Schwartz,
Present.
Mark Hawk. I don't see
Present.
May Nicholson. I also see on the thing, Alan Minkus, Tim Alex, Christian Winsett, Brenda Smith, Matt Dunn, Josh Cormier, and myself. I don't see anybody else. We have a quorum. We can begin.
Excellent. Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes for June 1st, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Hankinson. Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to roll call vote. Dr. Hammond?
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
We have a vote.
Excellent. Approval of bills and orders?
I had sent a bunch of them to you. And I want to start, there's one of them that we got a little confused on. It came in. There was one from SHI for $55,264. That is not related to the school projects, related to other things within the district. So that was sent, but we're not going to be approving that. That's a different one. I spoke with Eileen this morning about it. So the ones that do need approval are Colliers at $78,466.44, JWA $110,096, Allied Testing 500, Allied Testing 250, Bacon Construction $3,016,874, Rent-A-Cart $4,545, second Rent-A-Cart $3,212. I think one is the two elementary schools. Pro AV Systems, $41,734. Hub, $5,730. And SHI International, $11,968. I believe I got all of those correct.
Okay, fabulous. Do I hear a motion to approve the orders as read?
Move to approve as
I will
presented.
second.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Thank you, Ms. Hankinson. Any discussion on the motion?
Just a question.
Sure,
Mr.
go ahead.
Dr. Hammond, you talked about the SHI for 55,000. What about the 11,968?
I did
960.
read that off. I did read 11,968, I believe.
And that's approved.
Yeah, that one's correct. Am I correct,
Okay.
Tim? Tim, where are you, Tim?
Yeah,
I
I'm
got it.
here.
That one's correct.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I am here. That one has been logged and
okay,
sent through for approval.
fine.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to roll call vote. Dr. Hammond?
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes,
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, that is a vote, Mr. Chairman, and what happens is SHI, they're doing stuff with the school for all your other schools, and then for this one, that's where sometimes that gets a little confusing, but these are clear. That the one we did, the 11,968 is for this this elementary school project.
Okay, very good. So that takes care of all our bills and orders, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move on to the report from the OPM.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and pull up the financials.
You should be able to share now.
All right. Okay, so this is again the spreadsheet we've been looking at throughout. Our total project budget under column A, which was just under 90 million. What we've paid out is here in column B, so that's just under 57 million. What we've contracted for is about 76.5 million. We have a encumbered this period and invoices this period, but we probably will encumber more as we go with just different change orders that get added to this or any other additional testing we do. But in essence, of the roughly 57 million that was approved and paid, 37, almost 38 million, 37.7 of it would be deemed eligible for reimbursement by the MSBA, and based on the district's reimbursement rate, it would put a reimbursement of roughly $30 million. So, you know, of that 57, the city has had to pay out about 37.
Okay. Very good. Any questions? All right, moving on to construction updates.
Okay. Starting with the site work. All right, this wasn't the committee that I had, or just realized I thought I missed getting a report out. Site work is going on pretty well now. Most of the fencing and guardrails are up. A lot of the planting is complete. They are pouring sidewalks, the first batch of them tomorrow, mostly at the, like where the sidewalk crosses the little islands at the parking lots. And then they will continue forming and going from there. Site work. Building A, basically the final graphic was put up as you saw in the weekly report. Looks very nice. Not a whole lot happening at Building A right now, because they kind of moved over to Building C, but there's still flooring left to be done. That's the biggest thing left to be done in Building A besides cleaning is flooring. So there's not a whole lot. They worked on Building A on the outside. They put caps on the curtain walls, did stuff like that. They are doing they completed the masonry work on the south elevation. They're on the east elevation now, excuse me, and be rolling over to either the north or the west. I'm not sure exactly. Even after this morning's meeting, Joe was getting his east and west confused a bit. So I'm not sure which the next step is over there. Inside, like I say, mostly it's flooring that's left to be done. Going to Building B, I would say by the end of this week, all of the masonry in Building B will be complete, which is a good thing. They have been working on the GFRC rain screen panels on both A and B. That's been ongoing, as well as on the connector. Building B, second and third floor, not a whole lot going on there because they're concentrated down little odds and ends. Curtain wall, oh, okay. The curtain wall framing at the media center over the main entrance and or adjacent to it, and one side of the lantern has been framed out, and they started glazing the lantern today, so that's good. Like I say, second and third floor, odds and ends are being done, concentrating on the first floor. They're doing the mud set base for the cafeteria floor tile right now, working their way in from sort of the elevator area in front of the entrances to the kitchen servery. They have 2 out of the, I think, 5 or 6 lights on in the cafeteria. They're a serpentine kind of a thing hung at different levels, kind of neat looking. What else is going on there?
Well, the gym
They're
floor,
finished. Yeah, gym floor is nowhere at the moment. They pretty much are cleaned out there, waiting to get the subflooring or the sleepers in. for the gym flooring along with the plywood that goes on top of it. But it sounds like we could be a week or so out before they see that. But the rest of the gym is pretty much complete at this point. And building C, exterior wise out there, they're doing the pavers at the east entrance of the cafeteria. When you step out there, the brick pavers, that's coming along nicely in the canopy area. Odds and end painting and all that sort of stuff. More kitchen equipment was delivered. They're starting to set it up, install sinks and things like that. Elevators ongoing. We're hoping it's going to be close, but we're hoping to have it ready for the beginning of the moving of the FF&E furniture, which is about a week and a half, 2 weeks from Monday.
Yeah, they
And then-
anticipate completing the install of the elevators this week, but then there's the whole aspect of getting approval and authorization from the state inspector to use them. So even if we don't have that, we can operate them with the use of the installer operating the elevator so that we can get the furniture where we need to get it.
And building C, I would say the exterior is complete. Pretty much, except for the entranceway, the brick right at the recessed entranceway in the south elevation. Flooring is almost complete on the second floor. They've also started flooring on the first floor. Most of the casework is done there. Oh, and building B, the third floor casework is pretty much done. That was when I left off. And what else? I can't think of anything else offhand. All
Yeah, the key
electrical
will really
talks-
be finishing up the mechanical systems, electrical systems, big picture stuff that we absolutely have to have. We've talked about the brains of the building, the network switches. We don't have any new information on that. We're keeping our fingers crossed, saying our prayers. We're expecting them in August, is I guess at this point what we're being told. We just don't know exactly when. But so those are the big issues. A, as Matt said, is, I'm sorry, go ahead, Matt.
The projector, the classroom projectors was another big technology item that
Yeah,
wouldn't be
supply
there.
chain has kind of hampered us. Even the gym flooring, the maple flooring is being delayed. We ran into this last year on other projects where I don't know why that is a problem, but it is. But as Matt said, A is the furthest along. It's pretty much, they're in pretty good shape. They're not really doing a whole lot in there. Crews will have to go back in and touch up or finish up scopes of work that they haven't completed for various reasons, coordination reasons. C is a little bit further, just a little bit further behind. But the flooring is going in, and that's usually one of the last finish items that you have. And we're kind of trying to focus and push on that so that all the rooms are ready for furniture come the 18th, when we'll start bringing in classroom chairs and desks. And then B, the upper levels are in pretty good shape, but obviously the first floor, there's a lot of activity. The crews are kind of pulling out of the other buildings, so there's a lot of different things around. But the cafeteria and the gym, the two big spaces, are coming along. The ceramic tile flooring in the cafeteria, they're just allowing the electrician to get further ahead and get his lighting installed before they follow up. So they're getting their mud set ready, but it's, they're just following the electrician. So construction wise, things are moving along. They're not exactly where we'd like to be. I think it's fair to say that they're behind, but not critically behind. It's just making sure we have those network switches. That seems to be the biggest issue at this point.
How many network switches are we anticipating to be housed in the new school? Do we know?
There's 33 and 2 aggregate switches, which basically is the head end of the system, plus the separate switches for the camera. All the camera people, they supply their own switches, from what I'm being told.
All the camera people?
Yeah, the camera system, they have their own switches.
The security.
Security cameras, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yes, I was reading that submittal inspec the past 2 days, so it's mainly memorized now.
Okay.
So equipment startup, final gas meter install, starting up the electrical emergency generator, all those things are imminent. And as we would expect that they'd be being done kind of at the last minute prior to installation, but again, we'd like them to be a little bit further ahead than where they are, but I think they can pull those areas together. It's really just getting the technology.
Does anyone have a idea of when we can have the copiers moved? Because I'd rather do that before all the furniture gets delivered on, I think you said the 18th.
Well, the furniture, it's starting on the 18th, but it goes for the next month. What's getting delivered on the 18th, for the most part, is going to be student desks and chairs. And then WB Mason, another vendor, is going to be delivering some office furniture, but that's going to be really just kept in storage in the cafeteria until the office is ready to place it. So where the copiers are going, the main office certainly won't be ready for that. And I don't know about some of the other remote locations, but we can take a look and let you know when we think those will be ready so we can coordinate delivery.
Yeah, if we can just give them a little bit of a heads up, because my confidence level in Xerox is somewhere hovering around none. So I'd like to give them as much heads up as possible.
Okay.
You make him sound like National Grid.
National Grid is a superstar compared to Xerox right now.
Oh, it's,
I would say 8:15. How's that for a random date?
It's nice.
I'll take it.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we're supposed to move Katrina in on the 8th, and then the OES secretaries come in on the 18th, I believe.
I don't think Katrina's moving in that early. Unless she's bringing a hammer.
She's only in the C wing, so.
Okay, is there anything else under the OPM?
Tim, do we want to talk? Pardon me. Maybe we can get to this when we do PCOs, is the floor protection.
Yeah, let's do
guess
that with all the other
Roll into that
PCOs.
later. Yeah. Good. That was it for me.
Okay,
I've got a question and a statement. I was reviewing the monthly report that you send out to the committee. Glad to see the cove moldings going in. I was wondering if there was going to be any. So I'm glad about that. And then I had to ask, what is GFRC?
Christian came up with that one.
Yeah, no, I should.
It's glass fiber reinforced concrete.
Oh, really?
Panels, they're the
Correct.
light gray,
Basically,
gray panels.
It's basically like a concrete panel, like a hardy board is kind of the common residential version.
Okay.
And so it has basically strands of fiberglass that act as the reinforcement within the concrete.
That was foreign to me. That's why I had to ask.
Yeah, no, we stumble over that GFRC all the time also.
Thank you.
Mhm.
that was it, Bob? Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns for the OPM? All right, thank you very much, guys. Moving on to the report from the architects, updates, change orders, and voting change orders.
Great. So I will share. This is the summary that Dr. Hammond sent out. And I included a few on here just as, for your information. And then a few that we were asking for approval. So starting from the top, the window testing costs, I just wanted to have that on folks' radars. We're still discussing with Bacon. We think that some of the work that they did was above and beyond, and so should result in a change order and an additional cost. And then some of it we think is owned by under the contract. So we're still working on that one, but I wanted to bring that up. 278, also we've discussed many times, but we have issued a no-cost construction change directive. And so that's just what's required by the contract. Similarly, they submitted a letter to us saying that they will proceed, but that it is in dispute, which is also required by the contract. If they had not submitted that letter before they started the work, then we could just refuse payment. But they submitted that letter in time, and so this one is still just kind of sitting out there till the end of the project. 279 is some cracks that showed up in the slab, larger than anticipated, and require some floor prep. We have some back and forth going on this one too, but we're asking for a not to exceed. I should have said that. Recommend approval as to exceed of $3,329.
And that was a CCD, right, Christian?
Correct.
CCD 6.
Yeah. 298 is a duct that's coming out of the wall, and it changes size because it no longer has to have a liner on the inside of it, so it can get smaller as it goes down to the diffusers. This often happens in the corner of a classroom, but as we were looking at the covers that go up above the diffuser, it made more sense to make that transition further back into the wall. So we asked them for that price, and this was a lot less than I thought it would be. So this is $2,194, which we recommend approval. 300 is kind of part of that port in place. Sorry to make folks dizzy. So part of 278 that we did want to pull out and fully acknowledge probably is worth an add is what's now been moved into PCO 300. And so this was for areas where we changed the port in place from a wood fiber mulch to the rubber, 2 different locations, and that was PCOs 255 and 269. And for that one, we understood that they were giving us a quote at that point for a 50% black, 50% color, kind of less expensive approach. We'd like it to be 100% color to match the other areas that we think are owned in the contract. So recommending approval for $8,267 for that one. 303, I actually don't know that much about. Additional owner requested phone line licensing for $866. I think Wayne can talk about that one if there are questions on it. Time capsule location 304, that's just some additional framing needed under the stairs for $3,106. 307 was to reduce the height of a couple curtain walls just with conflicts with the structural steel, 1,897. 309 was a bit of a frustrating one. We owned a metal channel and a wood guardrail. Then the glass railing manufacturer no longer supplies a wood guardrail, but they also removed the metal channel when they made that change. So to put the metal channel back on and to have the millwork sub provide the wood rail cap is a net change of 1,614. 310 is another not to exceed. This is where we have the membrane roof above the cafeteria and also above the gym. And we have that hitting the wall on the east side of the building on the B wing and running up that wall a certain distance. And we had it coming up the wall just a little bit especially over the cafeteria in the construction documents, but then we realized that it would be even better if it went up a little bit further and got tucked under the sill of the window, and was just a better waterproofing detail. We're a little bit in dispute with Bacon over the exact scope of this, so that's why we're asking for a not to exceed of 10,885 while we figure that out. 314, we just wanted to let you know, this is one that we have rejected and issued a zero cost construction change directive. But the window filed sub bidder is claiming that they do not own the sill flashing at curtain wall and storefront because it was not clearly called out specifically that they had to do it. We think it's pretty obvious that they should have owned that as part of their scope. But that original request was for $12,599. No need to act on that at this point. And then 316 is for temporary floor protection, and this was a request on our part. Just seemed like a very good idea to furnish and install hardboard to the cafeteria, the adjacent hallway, and the elevator floors. This is largely to protect the porcelain tile in order to accommodate furniture delivery and kind of storage in those areas. And that's for $15,084. And then I think the question is whether we expand the scope of where that hardboard goes. So of the recommended above, that comes to a total of $47,242.
So just as Matt had mentioned, we had wanted to talk a little bit about the temporary floor protection a little bit more. So a lot of that is that we're planning on having the contractor put in like 3/8 of an inch masonite to protect the tile in the cafeteria where we're going to be storing furniture. It's kind of often a place where the vendors need a place to unbox their items, put different things and while they're waiting for all the other miscellaneous parts and pieces to come in. So it's not something we don't do on most jobs. We typically use a large space like the cafeteria or the gym for this purpose. And if it was in the gym, obviously the wood floor we would want to protect as well. In the cafeteria, we want to just protect it. It's a lot. It's money well spent protecting the floor and preventing having to chip out some tile that's just newly installed and replace it and trying to redo the grout and all that kind of stuff. The other areas where we may want to have additional protection on top of this is, and maybe we'd want to get approval from you to have the ability to spend money as needed, but there's rolls of cardboard. It's basically a thick cardboard that you can roll out in the corridors. And so as dollies full of furniture or being pushed around, they can go on the cardboard and not have to worry about a screw or something getting caught under a wheel and tearing up your new linoleum flooring. I think the majority, the bulk of this 15,084 is for the hardboard. And then there's labor to take it off the truck and put it in the building and lay it down. But we may have some other time and material type of items that we want to do as we understand what we need a little bit. We want to have the flexibility to do that. So we can look for, I don't know, maybe an additional $5,000 to $10,000 that we could do on a time and material basis for added protection when needed.
Just if I could jump in for a second, Tim, based on the takeoff that I did, because the ram board is only 38 inches wide. If we go with just one strip down the corridors, we're looking at around 7,000. Double that if we want to make it twice as wide. So it's a minimum of $7,000 just for that. And then we need, I think I'd rather see 12 to 15 just so that we have something else to work with, because it's surely going to be at least $7,000.
Could I suggest for a second, just on the change orders, you said 47,242. That's a solid number agreed to. Christian, am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so I think we need to vote that number, because I think, Tim, you're talking about over and above that 47,000, am I correct?
No, I am, but I want to make sure that people understand how those tie together, that not that you're asking you to approve something and then immediately asking for another 15,000.
That's right. I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, two votes, one for the 47,242, which would be change order number 18. And then if you want to authorize them for 10, 15, whatever thousand to get stuff done because we're under the gun to get it done, that should make a second vote. Okay, just to make it clear, because this, we need to draw up the change order document.
So is that clear to everybody?
We could always just cut 304 for 3,106 for the time capsule location. Just throwing that out there too.
Oh, I knew you would say that. We all knew you were going to say that.
For a great idea, that's not going
We
to
have to
cost
put
us
a
any
couple of
money.
marks.
That's 3,000 already.
We're going
We have to put a couple of marked jokes in there in the time capsule as well. All
Those are
right.
timeless.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So
It's
moved.
47,242.
Excellent. Did I hear a so moved?
You did, Hankinson.
Thank you, Mr. Hankinson. Thank you, Mr.
Seconded.
Schwartz, for seconding. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to a roll call vote. Dr. Hemmond?
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes,
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes,
and Mark Hawk.
No,
It's a vote.
Okay. The
Then-
ayes have it.
Yeah.
Next one is not to exceed 15,000 for additional floor protection. Do I hear a motion?
so move.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz.
seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to a roll call vote. Dr. Hemmond?
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes,
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes,
Mark Hawk.
yes,
It's a vote.
Excellent. Anything else on the agenda for architects? Christian?
Just to add, Mr. Chairman, that 15,000 would come back as a change order when we do it. So it would be a change order that would have to be filed when we finish it up. But
Okay.
they wanted to be able to say that they have authority to go ahead and do that, not have to come back to the committee. Time is going to be tight. That's why that was requested.
Excellent. Okay,
No more from me, Mark. All set. Thank you.
great. All right, any other business to come before this subcommittee?
I just have an additional question.
Sure.
On the monthly report that was given, it talked about the art room floors are being polished. I'm assuming that means it's a concrete floor being polished. And if that's a fact, are those floors going to be sealed after they're polishing?
Yes, it's already complete. All
Oh,
that
okay.
work has been done, yes.
So it's sealing as well?
Yes,
Oh, okay,
all three rooms.
very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other business? So
Just to
I
note-
just have, oh, go ahead,
Just
Steve.
to note, our next meeting will be August 3rd. And we're not, at the moment, we're not looking to have a building committee meeting in August 15th, whatever that date is. Most likely, we will not have a building committee meeting. But our next meeting for the subcommittee will be August 3rd.
Yes, thanks. You jumped the gun on that, but that's okay. We'll take that out of order. We'll disregard Robert's rules for now and just allow that to happen. I had one other piece of one other thing that I would like to look into. I've been talking with our tech support, and obviously the thing we're most concerned about are the switches that need to go in. I guess there's some 3,000 ports or something like that that we need for everything from HVAC to the cameras to Wi-Fi. I guess my question is, we have some switches and Elm Street and Waterford Street schools. Those switches are good switches. They're not extremely old. My question is, can we get a list of the absolute must-haves for just to get us in the building and operational so we can be in the building? Things like Wi-Fi, frankly, aren't even necessary, because for those things we could use simple hotspots for computers in the rooms. But things like cameras, we don't really need that right off the bat to get occupancy. And so I guess my question is, as a backup plan, could we identify what are the most crucial systems to have going, and where would those switches be? How many switches would we need? I don't know if that's something we can do.
My thought process this morning was to, if need be, just get the phone system up and running would be the probably the most critical thing.
Right, but they have everything from the HVAC, so I don't know if it's occupiable if the HVAC isn't running. So I need to know.
That can run by itself. That can run standalone. So I would say if and that's one of my questions for Scott Goodrich, is how the switches are set up. They diverged, which would mean that the phone system lives on its own switch, which is, in my opinion, is a better setup anyway, because if you have a switch die, it doesn't kill phones and internet, it just kills phones. So that's where we're heading now. I mean, one person said we'll have switches on the 10th, another person said we'll have it at the end of the month. So
Right, right, and great. I'm just trying to think, if they don't, can we have a backup plan around that? Because that's the one thing that I consistently hear from each time we meet, is that the switches, we're not sure. They said they'd come in, they said they'll be put off. I just want to have a backup plan for switches. I think that's something that we can do. So we
Yep.
might as well put it together and have it. So I don't know who would put together that list of absolute essentials for us.
Well, I think I would have to start with the design consultant. He knows the system, he designed it, how the network is going to work, and he'd be able to look at it and identify what are kind of must-haves to get the building up and running.
Is that a big thing? Is that a big thing for him to do, or her?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but to me, it's just that kind of magic behind the curtain that happens. I don't know the details.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's nuances to it that may be more difficult.
I think there's five IDFs, which are the sub IT rooms, and then there's one MDF. So I think maybe we should be able to find a switch that will work with the fiber, and then if need be, I think we could. I'm saying we could probably at least get all the phones up and running. I think that would be the critical thing to opening this thing up, would be phones.
Yeah, Mark, I think you're right. Having a plan B, I think that's a great idea if we have those available to us that we could use. And between Scott taking a first crack at what would be a priority, and then working with the district's IT consultants, because they'll know what equipment you have in your existing facilities. Maybe they can develop a plan that'll work for us.
Okay.
And I'm also have concerns about taking anything out of Waterford or Elm until we're 100% gonna move. So I don't want to.
I do understand that. But that's my whole point, is that if we can move and the switches are the only thing that are holding us up, then I want to have a plan. It sounds like they can put the switches in relatively quickly, as in a day or a day or two. Granted, you'll need to do testing and things like that, but if that's our last resort, it may be our something that we can pull out of our hat.
Yep.
All right. Any other comments? I don't see anybody on from the public. Our next meeting's August 3rd, as Dr. Hemmond said, taking things out of order, naughty, naughty. No executive session, and moving on. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
You just like to get at me.
I do. You're usually perfect. The first mistake I've seen, Steve. Good job.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Hankinson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Have a great day, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Appreciate it.